Hey, it's Jay. Welcome back to Lavender Living. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite, or just some general female romances. Majority of this are YA. I think only one is adult. One's technically new adult, but since there's no new adult age category in traditional publishing technically, then it's YA. So yeah, let's get into it. Dear Rachel Maddow by Adrian Kistner has a main character who's a lesbian, and she does have a romance like in the past before the book started, and like a couple flashbacks I believe, with another girl. I don't remember what her sexuality is, if it's ever explicitly stated, but this is about a girl who is in not gifted program. What's the opposite of a gifted program? I guess remedial lessons. And there are some people that are running for class council, and they're doing it very unjustly, I guess. And so she decides to run because her and the other remedial students aren't getting represented. And this book is told entirely in emails to Rachel Maddow, who is an MSNBC host of The Rachel Maddow Show, which I love. I gave this book 3 stars, but I think if I reread it, it would get more. But yeah, this one has lesbian. It's Not Like It's a Secret by Misa Sugiura is a book with a really cute cover. It has a female romance with a Mexican girl and a Korean girl, if I remember correctly. And this is just them, like the story of the Korean girl falling in love with the Mexican girl and dealing with like the traditional like Korean and then Mexican familial expectations and stuff. And I was quite liking this book, but I pettily DNF'd it when one of the girls let out a breath that she didn't know she was holding. And I just couldn't deal with that, but it was really cute from what I read of it. Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Yoon is an Asian high fantasy, I guess. Yeah, high fantasy novel. The second one's come out already, I think, and this is a female romance. I'm currently reading it. I need to finish it. I haven't even gotten to the part with the female romance yet. I don't know for sure what the sexuality is of the main character. If you know, please tell me down in the comments. But this is about a world where there's like a caste system, and there are like demons that are animals, and then there are people, and then there are like demon people. And the main girl gets taken for some reason, and she has to do stuff in the capital. I'm explaining this really poorly, but it's been a while since I've read it, so yeah. Reawakened by Callista Lynn has a female romance, as well as both of the girls in the relationship being asexual. This is a roller coaster of a book. It's very short. The font is fairly big. This has to do with like dreams and people from a dreamland coming into reality. The main girl is like studying or rehearsing for this ballet recital thingy in New York so she can get a scholarship or something, and she dreams of this girl who then comes out. I think the girl's black that she dreams of, and they have this relationship, and there are really good descriptions of asexuality and stuff, but it's female. I don't think other than asexuality, I don't remember if the bisexual, lesbian, whatever is mentioned. Going Off Script by Jen Wild is a story about this girl from somewhere south of Seattle, or maybe even Oregon, I don't remember, and she is going to California for a film internship where she is going to be studying with, or she's going to be shadowing this typewriter of her favorite show. And she's treated like dirt. She's staying with her gay cousin, but the female relationship is with her and a YouTuber, I believe her name was, who is Indian, and they start off kind of as friends, and then they like get into it. That sounded very suggestive, but it was very cute. I love Jen Wild's books. She always has like a whole bunch of different representation, but this is female, and POC. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Majority of people have read this, not to name any names of anyone that hasn't. But this is the adult book that I was talking about earlier. This is about a starlet who was from like the 60s or 50s or whatever, and she hires this girl to kind of write her biography, and she talks about all the husbands she's married and how her true love was actually a woman, and it was like, it's kind of a mystery, kind of a literary fiction novel, I'm not sure, but there's female in her true love. Little in Line by Brandy Colbert is a book about this girl who is black. That doesn't really have anything to do with that, it's just, yeah, anyway. This girl who's black, and she comes back from a private school in New England, and she is going back to school for like a year or something, and she is dealing with her step brothers, I believe, bipolar disorder, and dealing with like some of her mistakes that she made in her private school in New England, including a romance with another girl ending off on the wrong note. And it just kind of goes through her struggling with what she did, and with her brother's diagnosis, and his struggling with whether or not to take the medications that he has. And there's a girl who she's kind of friends with, who also like falls for her brother, and she's very toxic and just not a good influence. And I read this, I think, before I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but I think it was good representation. But yeah, there's female-female reference in, romance in the past, and that comes into play later in the book as well. Saul Kill Girls by Claire Legrand is a feminist thriller that follows three different girls, three different point of views, where they are trying to hunt down this monster who keeps stealing and killing girls on the island they're on. This was a really interesting book. I need to reread it because I gave it 3.5 stars, but I feel like if I reread it I would give it a higher rating. But there's an A-spec girl who is in a relationship with a guy, and then two girls that kind of fall for each other. That wasn't the main plot by any means, and they didn't even get together until like toward the very end, but it is like they do kiss, and then they do kind of express feelings for each other like one does in a romance. It's not the main plot by any means, but it's definitely in there and definitely explicit. We Are Okay by Nina LaCour is the new adult disguised as a YA novel that I mentioned earlier. This takes place with like a freshman or sophomore girl, I don't remember which, who is in college, and she is staying over winter break, I believe, in her dorm because her only other living relative had just passed away, and so she didn't really have anyone to go home to. And she has an old friend come over, and they kind of have to, like, they also used to date, and they kind of discuss what'll happen between them and stuff. I DNF'd this because my audiobook expired from the library and I never got around to finishing it. Ship It by Britta London has to do with fandoms and the influence that fandoms have on like shows and stuff. There is a black girl who identifies as panromantic homosexual, and a girl who is struggling with understanding or like accepting that she's queer. For her, there's not really like, she kind of struggles with labels and stuff, and then she's like, yeah, I'm queer, that's all I got. There are a few questionable scenes that happen, such as one of the girls outs the other, which, why would a queer person out another queer person? And then there's another scene where the main character kind of terrorizes the showrunner. But this follows a girl who was at some kind of panel for with actors from her favorite show, and she asks the main guy how he feels about like the fandom has all this like this big headcanon that these two characters are like gonna fall in love, and he like laughs it off. And for PR control, his like PR assistant person is like, hey, come on the rest of the tour with us, like patch this up. And yeah, kind of controversial scenes, but female romance, not the healthiest, but We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia is an feminist, kind of dystopian, kind of fantasy novel, where there are like two different jobs, I guess, for women. Not like all women, because like there's like the hierarchy with like peasants and then like people of government importance and stuff. But the girls go to this kind of academy to train to marry these wealthy men of power, and there are girls that that are training to become the guy's like basically partner, in the sense of like planning and like hosting different get-togethers and basically like all the logistical things that come with like being married and stuff. I don't know if that makes sense. And then there's the girls that train to become like kind of their lovers and that will produce heirs for them and stuff. And the female romance didn't really, I guess, enemies to lovers. The romance doesn't really come into play until the very end of it, and then it's left on a cliffhanger. The second book is out already. I still need to get it, but the first one was so good. Like I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. If I remember correctly, all of the characters are Latin, so they're like all Latinx and stuff. And the last one I have is The No World Girls by Amy Reed. This follows three different girls, one of which is a lesbian Mexican girl who is struggling with her being queer with like the Mexican tradition and stuff, and she falls for this girl like later in the book. I didn't really care about like their romance, like, because I didn't feel like I knew the girl she was liking well enough to care about her, but that is a thing that happens, and it's like her and the two other girls kind of discuss it, like, why are you going for this one girl for this specific reason that is kind of spoilery, but I think the representation was done good, and I like that she was a POC. So yeah, that's all I've got for today. Tell me down in the comments what your favorite female romances are, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so I can notified whenever I upload. I upload every Wednesday except for June for Pride Month, where I upload a video every day for Lavender Living, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching. Bye.